What if Ruby was transported to my hero, the sports festival? As Ruby was called to Nezu's office. As Ruby enters, "You called me, Nezu." "Yes, Ruby. We are having the sports festival, and because you came in late, I'll let you decide if you want to compete. But first, we've never really gotten a recollection of your skills. So I would like for you to fight Aizawa." "You want me to fight my teacher to prove my skills?" "Yes. And again, it is your choice if you want to participate in the sports festival." As she agrees to these terms. As they go to a training ground and the teachers decide to observe this match. Just the teachers, no one else. As Aizawa staying on one end and Ruby on the other. Ready to fight. Alright, so when do we start? Now, as Aizawa sends his scarf, as Ruby dodges at a very quick rate, as she pulls out Crescent Rose into its scythe form, and rushes towards Aizawa. Aizawa rushes forward, dodging the swing of the scythe and going to punch Ruby in the stomach, as Ruby redirects one of her hands and has the scythe down and spins herself upward, and hitting Aizawa in the head with the hand she had moved. And then she swings around the scythe that's indebted into the ground to hit Aizawa in the stomach, sending him backwards. As Aizawa recovers, Ruby uses her semblance to move very fast to where Aizawa can't keep up, and she uses several rounds of dust electricity to shock Aizawa to unconsciousness. As Aizawa falls over, as Nezu and the other teachers are absolutely shocked, she took out Aizawa very quickly. All Might says, "Yes, really quickly. I was expecting such a young student able to take down Aizawa. He's very skilled in hand-to-hand combat. It might have turned out differently if she didn't use her weapon. Might have. Well, her skills are phenomenal. So we'll have her participate in the sports festival. She already told me she would. Is it a wise idea having a new student, not even a month into the year, or school year at least, participate? I feel like it would be unfair to the other students to let her compete. Were you A? No matter what the student, you have a choice to participate in the sports festival." As some teachers agree, some teachers disagree, just because it kind of feels like they would be giving her special treatment. But they inevitably decide to let her compete. As the day of the sports festival is going on, and, well, Ruby is among Class 1A waiting, Bakugo gives his speech, which after that makes pretty much everyone outside Class 1A their enemy. Like, Bakugo basically ruined Class 1A from teaming up with anyone they don't know. Literally. Just kind of ruined any chance of team up with any other class. So Bakugo really didn't help at all. The only person that was willing to help Class 1A that wasn't in Class 1A was someone from the support course, Mei Hatsume. But we get on to the first, which is basically the race. I don't remember what that one's called, but the race around basically the stadium. First to make it back, it's like 10,000 points for the next round. So as it immediately whistle is blown, Ruby immediately goes full speed with her rose petals and flies over everyone, avoiding Shoto's early attempts to freeze everyone in the ice way. Which was a smart move on Shoto. I gotta admit, that was a strategist and a very good move. Just, his classmates were able to avoid it, and a lot of other students as well. So, currently, at a speed, none of Class 1A can catch up to the heights of Ruby. Ruby's just too fast. So she makes it to the 0-pointers first. As she's surprised about these big machines, because she knew nothing about the sports festival going into it. All that note was like a game or events. She thought it was gonna be similar to their world, or her world at least, to where it's gonna be kind of like a fighting tournament. Kind of is, kind of isn't. But anyway, as she flies towards the 0-pointers, as she immediately pulls out Crescent Rose before really just decapitating one of them, as the head flies, well, off and lands directly, perfectly, straight up on the ground, which surprises a lot of students that just arrived. Now, of course, Shoto will freeze the robots for a moment before letting them attack the other students. And Ruby absolutely dominates when it comes to the strings, the big hole in the ground where students have to basically crawl through or climb through strings on strings to get across. And then she's already made it to the landmine while everyone's stuck on that. As Ruby attempts to step, a landmine explodes. The training landmines anyway. As she is sent back a bit. As she's surprised, they've got landmines. As she would then focus and get ready for a really high speed. Now this is when Shoto, Bakugo, and a few other people started to arrive, as Ruby was contemplating what to do. As she basically goes super speed, like the fastest she's ever done, avoiding all the landmines before they go off. Also, ruining Bakugo's run just a little bit, because the explosions all condensed up and going off simultaneously create a big explosion which kind of sent Bakugo back a bit. But anyway, she got first place in the, race. And now on to the cavalry battle. Now, for this, I'm actually going to have her team up with Izuku. So we are not having Mei Hatume in the finale. Like, I know she's like a side character that I feel like should not be in this, so I'm just going to replace her for this one. I'll probably use her again in another story. And basically, how this one goes off pretty well. Also, none of them have discovered her silver eyes just yet. So basically, they won, as in canon, first place. I'm not really going to go into the description of that for the practical battle, group battle. And we're just going to go straight on to the 1v1s. Now, most of them go on as canon. Now, for Mina, I believe her first opponent was Ida. Tenya Ida. So, it battled between speed. As, of course, Ida was observing that Ruby had speed. So, assuming that's her quirk with the rose petals, that she moved really fast. Both of them start zooming around the arena. Now, Ida can be seen, but Ruby is kind of condensed into the rose petals going around. As swings of, she couldn't use Crescent Rose, so fists would be going back and forth. Ida trying to use his reciprocal burst to try to kick Ruby. As Ruby would just quickly evade it before punching Ida in the chest, doing a little bit of knockback, but not much. As she would move around several times faster. As Ida, wearing his armor and all that, goes for a kick on Ruby. As Ruby would look Ida in the eyes before her silver eyes would glow up just a little, causing Ida to be blinded just a bit by the brightness. No one else knows this, by the way. As Ruby kicks Ida, sending him flying out of the arena. And now, Ida fought, I believe, the girl with the hair as vines. Also, the rest of the fights went as canon. Now, for this fight, Ruby actually struggles. Not as much. She basically does the same thing Ida did to her in her fight. But she struggled a little bit because she managed to get an attack off early. But she easily evaded it. And this is where I'm not sure who. Oh, I remember. Ida went against Shoto. So it's Shoto versus Ruby. So Shoto using his ice, trying to freeze Ruby in place, as Ruby's speed and all that cannot just be frozen, kind of like how Ida's was. So she moves around, causing Ida a lot of trouble. As she gets up close, punching Todoroki in the face, sending him back a bit, but he sends more ice towards her as she simply evades it before kicking Shoto, sending him back a bit. As Shoto raises his hand and uses fire towards Ruby, causing her to be shocked, although she did observe in the fight between Izuku Midoriya and Shoto that he had a fire quirk as well. As she nearly evades it, simply just headbutting Shoto's stomach, causing him to go back a bit. As he's holding his stomach, Ruby takes the chance to uppercut him out of the arena. Now on to the final battle. Bakugo versus Ruby. Now before we get into this one, we must take a look to the top of the stadium, as someone is watching. It seems you're improving. You're adapting to this world. Yes, keep on adapting. As he then looks at a date on like a piece of paper. Because soon, I'll have to hunt you out of this world. And eliminate you. After all, you don't match up to the timeline. Or even supposed to be here. I've just been enjoying the hunt. Letting you wander around. Let you learn your surroundings. It's more fun that way when you watch your prey, so confused, trying to figure things out. And I can't wait for the biggest bombshell of all. As now, back to the fight between Bakugo and Ruby. Now this one, Bakugo uses his explosions to send explosions towards Ruby, as Ruby would use her speed to evade. But Bakugo, who's been watching and observing Ruby's fight, as he's been, trying to figure out how her quirk works, as he blasts to the middle of Ruby's rose petals, as Ruby had basically moved down to the side just a little bit, as it scraped her shoulder. As Ruby rushes towards Bakugo, as he releases a huge explosion, as we see that Ruby used her scarf to take the brunt of the explosion, so she's not there, surprising Bakugo as she hits him with an uppercut before punching him in the gut and then roundhouse kicking him in the head into the concrete. As Bakugo explodes the concrete and spins around to punch Ruby, as Ruby just lifts her chin and goes backwards a little bit before kicking Bakugo, sending him flying back to the edge of the arena, as he managed to stop himself with a good-timed explosion. You'll pay for that, as he would then rush over at her. Die! As he would basically throw a huge explosion, causing Ruby to be caught off guard, but she raised her, left hand to take the brunt of the explosion, breaking the, fabric off her arm. As she would then spin around to kick Bakugo, as he ducks, as he goes to punch Ruby. As Ruby sees this, turns into rose petals before basically going backwards. As Ruby would open her silver eyes a bit. Wait, no, I shouldn't use those. I can't reveal it. As she's thinking, Bakugo takes the chance to rush at Ruby to throw an explosion at her. And as she's in thought, causes Ruby to be caught off guard, as she's pushed back, as Bakugo smiles, as she attempts to, go after Bakugo, as then the words are heard, Bakugo Katsuki wins, as Ruby looks confused, as one of her legs are out of the arena. And that's how Bakugo managed to win. by sheer luck. As Ruby is leaving the arena, as the man on the roof is getting a bit impatient. Why did I have a time delay on hunting you? Stupid person that orders me around. As the man just simply disappears. Out of view. Now, Ruby was a bit shocked that she was caught off guard, but then again, she never had to fight in a restricted area pretty much before. Well, I guess you could say the dome where they trained their aura. Also, aura did stop several of the explosions from damaging her. But wasn't really useful when she has to focus on high velocity attacks, and she can't really recharge her aura in between all the rounds, because I don't know how long it takes to recharge aura. Now as we go to Ruby, who is a little bit disappointed that she didn't win, but was more caught off guard is that when she took a step back and looked down, she immediately looked back up and noticed that same figure that she thought she saw a while back. But she blinked and the guy was gone. So she's trying to think, who's that person? I believe I'm being followed. I told Nezu, but something doesn't feel right. Now a few days would pass, and of course the internships would come out. And the internships, several heroes definitely went for all the students of Class 1A. Now, Ruby gets a hero, and I'm just going to say Aizawa takes her as his internship, because basically there's information about her that does not need to be relayed to anyone outside UA, faculty, and the detective that interrogate her. So hopefully y'all liked part 4. Let's move on to part 5 and the final finale of the What If Ruby Was Transported to My Hero. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.